Okay, let's get into it. Most of us, I think, live with an awareness that our lives are often being evaluated at work, at school, socially. We get performance reviews, feedback, social media comments. It's our reputation. Somebody somewhere is always forming an opinion on how we're doing. And if we're honest, I think the idea that we're being evaluated can create a lot of pressure because we know that our lives are not perfect. We say things that we regret. We've ignored people that we should have noticed. We've chosen convenience when the proper action of love would have cost us something. We've shown favoritism. And James has just reminded his readers that the law of God exposes those things. Um, Breaking one part of it reveals that we've stepped outside of the authority of the one who gave us the law and raises an uncomfortable question. If God truly sees us clearly, then what happens when he judges us? James 2:12 and 13. So speak and so act as those who are to be judged under the law of liberty. For judgment is without mercy to the one who has shown no mercy. Mercy triumphs over judgment. James, again, is still speaking to Christians who've been kicked out of Jerusalem. They're scattered. They're living under social pressure. The earlier verses, he's talking especially about favoritism towards the wealthy. And now he wants to widen that. The issue isn't just about seating arrangements and who you talk to at the greeting time in a church service. It's the entire posture of a believer's life, how we speak and how we act. James reminds them that their lives are under what he calls here the law of liberty. And that sounds like a contradiction here at first, because law usually feels restrictive. Liberty sounds like freedom. And James isn't talking about two different things. The law of liberty here refers to the promise that through Christ, believers are freed from trying to earn righteousness. That we don't earn our place and our standing with God by cleaning ourselves up. There's grace. But that freedom doesn't remove a moral responsibility, it actually deepens it. Because now obedience flows from a transformed life rather than just external pressure and religion. It's the way that we speak, the way that we treat people, the way that we respond to the weaknesses of others. All of it reflects whether or not we truly understood the mercy that we have received. That's where verse 13 kind of hits us with some force. The judgment without mercy to the one who shows no mercy. James isn't saying that our mercy earns God's forgiveness, but he's saying that a life that consistently refuses to show mercy to other people reveals a heart that truly hasn't grasped the mercy of God. Jesus told a story about this in Matthew 18. The unmerciful servant who owed his king just this giant debt, something he could never ever on his own repay. And the king forgave it completely, showed him grace, mercy. But then that same servant walks at the door and finds a fellow servant who owes him just, in comparison, a tiny amount, demands payment without any compassion. And then the king hears about this and confronts him, not because the servant needed to earn the forgiveness, but because his action with the fellow servant revealed that he didn't really understand or appreciate the mercy he had received of cleaning out this giant debt. And that's the tension here that James is pressing into, that people who have actually experienced mercy tend to become people who extend mercy. Obviously not perfectly, but consistently. And then James ends with one of the more hopeful lines in the letter, where he says, mercy triumphs over judgment. Not because judgment disappears, because the mercy of God has the final word for those who belong to him. And that should change how we live. We don't move through the world guarding our status and protecting our pride. We move through it remembering the grace that has found us, that has forgiven us, that has set us free, and letting that grace shape the way that we treat others around us. If we have received a mercy, even though we have obviously broken the law in so many ways and we are debtors, If we have received mercy, we allow that to change our perspective, then we're more likely to consistently show mercy and grace to others. And there's an expectation that as we're being evaluated, that God is looking and searching for that mercy in us shown to other people. Wherever you find yourself, God goes with you today.